not going to watch this content moderation, but I do want to watch how terrorism became a dirty word by BadEmpanada. Someone said BadEmpanada also had a really good video about Ukraine as well. The Ukraine war, the only correct opinion. That's what BadEmpanada looks like. Not as ugly as Ethan said. I mean, why would you ever trust Ethan with anything? Can we watch the content Czar Bomba, please? No, because it is 4 hours and 30 minutes long, dude. Are you crazy? Instead of watching the content Czar Bomba, I would rather just simply make my own. I would rather make my own content Nuke response at that point. Another overzealous banger. There was, where is it? Is it BadEmpanada? It's BadEmpanada live, right? That's the other channel that he has. Where is it? Where he did a playlist. The Nuke playlist that he has. There was something in there that you guys wanted me to watch yesterday that I was going to watch. There's a big difference. You will E3 to watch BE. What does that mean? Yeah, he has 5-minute shorts. Let's look at this playlist. Ethan Klein spreads Saudi genocide propaganda content Nuke destroyed. Oh, this was the one you guys wanted me to watch yesterday.
So I just want to make some shorter clips here, going over some of the most egregious parts of Ethan Klein's supposed content Nuke. And I'm going to start out here with Ethan Klein doing Saudi Arabian propaganda. So Ethan Klein, in his video, he was really desperate to sort of paint the Houthis in the worst light.
BadEmpanada would also hate the stealing of labor that you reacting to the Czar Nuke content. Yeah, I think he's backed away from that position. I don't think he cares as much about me reacting to his videos.
Hello.
I think, ironically enough, when I did react to his videos, he saw an increase of support. And I think initially he was a big, like, anti-react guy. I think, you know what's really funny about this? Initially, the reason why BadEmpanada and I were not on good terms, regardless of the fact that I had actually enjoyed some of his older videos in the past and thought that he was, brilliant in terms of, like, all the historical analysis that he puts into his long, oftentimes convoluted, history videos that he does. But what's interesting is the major fissure that we had was over Reactgate, because at the time when everyone was yelling at me about like reacting to videos and whatnot, at the time when everybody was yelling at me, he was like, "Yeah, you are stealing the labor of like other YouTubers. It's really f***ed up." And he was like, "I don't want, I think it's disgusting that you're doing this," not realizing that like when a community such as this one does react to his videos, it probably does promote what he said on Do Not Worry Pod, that he doesn't mind you reacting to it because you don't do lazy reacts by letting the video run and not adding into it. Yeah, that's the funniest thing. I think he just didn't know. He just kind of got whipped away by the I think there's two reasons. One, he got whipped away by the frenzy, like he got clickbaited a little bit and thought that I don't add anything to the political videos I react to, especially, or even like non-political videos in general. And also I think he truly thought that like this community and myself reacting to videos such as this one are not actually a mutually beneficial, if not incredibly beneficial story or a situation for the content creator themselves. So those are the two reasons why he initially was like, I don't like it. But now I think he's changed his stance. He's a streamer who hates the streamer class, a true class traitor. Yeah. I thought it was because you went to the DNC. Oh, there was that too. I mean, look, we have our disagreements. We have our disagreements. He is, I believe, Greek after all. So of course, it is always going to be in the heart of a Greek to never give full credit to the Turk. Okay? It makes sense. He might even, is he a Greek Cypriot actually, like Drew Pavlov? It is natural for there to be some fissure. It is natural for there to be, yeah, he's going to hate you now. Yeah, he's a Greek Australian who is a Greek Australian who now lives in Argentina. It is natural considering what my people have done both to Australians and also the Greeks. Much worse to the Greeks. The Australian one is, kind of nobody's fault except for the British Empire. But so there is epigenetic trauma there. Okay, bro, you're not Ottoman. How dare you say such lies? I will ban you. He is a supporter of the Janissary program. He has a video on his YouTube channel. Well, considering that he is my Janissary, it makes sense. It makes sense for him to be a as my Maoist third world is Janissary, as my strongest soldier. Yikes, bro. Stop. I'm joking, man. God damn. Shut the up. Stop Hasan. He's going to hate you. I'm not being serious. Is he a Nazi? No. He's going to make a content nuke on you now. I would not be surprised if he did. No. I will maintain the position that BadEmpanada, especially on his main channel, it has phenomenal work in general. Like it is very good. He is very well read. He puts a lot of thought and effort into his content. And I think that I think that he might be, I can't speak for his other social media footprint, but he is a very impressive content creator in terms of the work that he puts into his long YouTube videos.
Like possible. And in doing so, he cited outright like Saudi propaganda they created to legitimize them massacring, maiming, and starving the people of Yemen in their decade plus.
He called you unintelligent in the content czar Bomba. Well, he can have his opinions.
Long US-backed assault on the country. So if you don't know, the Saudi Arabians intervened in Yemen.
A lot of the tweets people show are fake. He has a video about it. No, I'm not talking about the very obviously fake tweets, okay? Shut the up. I'm not talking about the very obviously fake tweets, chat. I'm talking about the very obviously real ones, okay? He definitely goes a little too far when it, you know. Anyway, just
against the Houthi-led anti-government rebellion, which started during the Arab Spring, and they have just been like wantonly bombing.
Yet he still has defended you so much. No, one thing that you guys have to understand is if I said something that BadEmpanada truly disagreed with, or if I said something ahistoric, okay, if I said something that was incorrect, okay, in terms of historical analysis, he would rip my asshole apart. The only difference is BadEmpanada does not defend me. He defends the truth. He understands that he understands what the history of Israel looks like. He sometimes even has more aggressive stances than I do, certainly in terms of my commentary around Israel and Palestine. But overall, he would be just as ruthless if I were engaging in some kind of bullshit, if I was saying some kind of bullshit and that was just incorrect. Yeah, he doesn't care about the drama necessarily, but I think he understands that drama causes people to watch stuff, and he cares more so about the history.
The country the whole time. They have been blockading it, starving it. They have been responsible for the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people minimum. And all this time, they have been supported by the US and to a lesser extent by Israel. And Ethan Klein, in all of his wisdom, in his desperation to try and make the Houthis look horrible, he ended up just uncritically citing propaganda as well as misciting 10-year-old articles to claim that they reintroduced slavery. So I want to show you that. There are two articles in particular that he cited that are just directly Saudi state propaganda. It's ironic as well that throughout the supposed content nuke, he claims that Hassan Piker was being paid to make it by like the Houthis, you know, the government of...
Wait, that's pretty funny. Okay, that's insane. I didn't know this. Ain't no way. One of the poorest countries on the planet was funding me. Like USA, they got Houthi aid. Like what Houthi money, man? They got like one F-15, don't they? Or not even. They got like one plane that they bust out for ceremonies. They got fiber, bro. You were poor. No, that's Hezbollah. Houthi does not have. The Houthis do not have fiber. No, not an F-15, an F-5. Sorry. Yeah, they got Yemen aid.
one of the poorest countries in the world are apparently paying like a millionaire in Los Angeles to do propaganda for them, which, you know, doesn't really square when you consider the reason to suspect Ethan Klein of being paid to do that for the Saudi government, given that the Saudis are well known for doing precisely that. You know, things like sports washing, paying celebrities to like go to their country and like talk about how great it is and stuff like that. Like The Rock does that, for example. Cristiano Ronaldo does that. I think even Lionel Messi does it. Plenty of celebrities who do that, who they pay to do that for them. And now we have Ethan Klein suddenly just citing like Saudi government made up propaganda to which they use to like justify them massacring the Yemeni people over the last 10 years. So let me show you what I mean. The first direct Saudi propaganda that he cites, and he might have even cited more. I want to make clear here, I suspect that he cited more. I did not check literally every single headline, because his whole thing is that he flashes a headline on the screen for like a half a second, just like rapid fire 20 in a row, just hoping that no one actually looks them up. So let me show you.
They've also set up landmines in agricultural spots, making the fields virtually worthless. Women have
landmines in agricultural spots, making the fields virtually worthless. That's an interesting claim, isn't it? So let's check that out. So the headline here is Yemen Army removes 300,000 Houthi landmines in liberated areas. Now, you can immediately tell that,
like, a lot of this stuff that that Human Rights Watch and many other NGOs talk about in Yemen, and especially the like even stuff like slavery and all these other things that are happening in terms of like Yemeni domestic affairs. If you don't have an understanding of what it looks like to be, Hasan just got caught in 4K. Wait, what? You laughed at dead kids. There's no way Hasan is watching this lunatic, Lamafayao. You laughed at dead kids. Yeah. I'm sorry, chatters. I can't keep responding to your hallucinations. Okay? In any case, what I was saying is, when we talk about like what happens in the countries, like Iran is a great example of this, because it's a nation state that has like developed outside of the sphere of Western influence after the Iranian Revolution. And a big part of this, like a big part of the fundamentalist approach that they have, is directly born out of American and Western intervention. You know what I mean? This is one of the major issues when you this is one of the major issues when you look at countries that have just been ravaged by war. Okay? When you look at countries that have been absolutely eviscerated, ravaged by war, and the ways in which their governments, are trying to rebuild, and oftentimes are rebuilt directly by some of the more fundamentalist elements, it happens as a direct consequence of their material realities. So we judge it as though, you know, the country that has been under a man-made blockade with Western forces and Western weapons by Saudi Arabia and the UAE is, we judge them on the metrics of America, basically. Like, why won't the average Yemeni have the same exact attitude as like an American living in New York City? Why won't the average why won't the Yemeni government be able to behave in the same way that like my local administrators behave? You know? Compared to Hasan, dude is 34 and tries to speak and dress like a Zoomer. What is oh, okay. We got the stands in here, I think. I don't think I try to dress like a Zoomer at all. I just dress the way I dress. But like, am I a terrorist who is an Islamist fundamentalist, or am I trying to dress like a Zoomer? Because stands basically hold these two things in the same to the same severity. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of betray like the major points that you're making. It's also funny whenever Ethan Klein fans say, I dress like a Zoomer, like I dress bad. Come on, dude. Like, how are you gonna throw rocks from glass houses like that? That's crazy. They came for your tabbies today? Yes. Ethan spent a good 30 minutes going over your outfit and how a socialist shouldn't dress nice, but then called your style whack. Yeah, it also kind of doesn't make sense. Let's continue.
There's something weird here because it's like citing the Yemen army saying this, and the Yemen army is the Saudi-backed, deeply unpopular Yemeni government that basically the entire country rebelled against. So that's already a bit weird, right? It also doesn't say anything about agricultural areas. So let's check out the actual article. So looking at the article itself, it doesn't actually say anything at all regarding agricultural areas and making the land useless. Ethan literally he made that up completely. It's not even here in this article, which, to be clear, is Saudi propaganda. So this article does nothing but cite the Yemeni government itself, who obviously are just going to say bad things about the Houthis, who are their opponents. And it's from April 2018, which is at the height of the Saudi genocide in Yemen. Basically, this is genocide-enabling propaganda, particularly when you look up what Arab News is. Let's look up this outlet. Who is Arab News? Arab News is an English-language newspaper published in Saudi Arabia, and it is owned by Turki bin Salman Al Saud, the brother of the ruling crown prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman. The newspaper promotes the Saudi government. This is Ethan Klein's source.
I assume Ethan Klein is talking about me because his foot soldier stands are in here going, Empanada isn't reliable. Empanada isn't reliable. Please turn off this video right now. Stop platforming this guy. Stop. Hey, maybe you guys will actually understand a normal, maybe even by pure accident, you might be able to learn a thing or two by watching a YouTuber who unironically knows the they're talking about as opposed to Ethan Klein. Okay? He's threatening to open your stream right now.
Saudi government propaganda outlet just printing anti-Houthi propaganda that based on nothing but the government of the people who the Houthis are fighting against said so. This is one of the greatest minds of our time, clearly. But don't worry, there's more to this. There's worse. Ethan Klein claims that the Houthis brought back slavery. Check this part out.
Oh, I almost forgot the most fun one. They brought back slavery.
The evidence of this is two articles, and one article rather, and one video. A video called
article from the Saudi royal family's own propaganda newspaper, and also article from an actual reliable outlet, Al Jazeera. Except the Al Jazeera article is from 2014, which is even before the Ansar Allah movement overtook leadership in Yemen. So one side of the story is literally the genocidaires doing propaganda. The other side of the story is actually the previous leadership that escaped to Saudi Arabia. Also, what's funny about the process in terms of like, I will click on your stream right now and I'll show you the truth to your audience. What's funny about that is like, well, for once, they'll actually see the full context. You know, for once, they'll actually see the full context. Maybe recognize that seeing me in 2-second to 10-second clips is probably not going to help them arrive at the appropriate conclusion. And also simultaneously, the only way to make sure that there aren't things that are clipped out of context would be to talk to me face to face instead of just watching me on a 30-second delay on your stream. I assume that he's already clicked away considering that I'm watching BadEmpanada.
Slavery in Yemen from Al Jazeera World, and an article called Exclusive, Houthis Restore Slavery in Yemen, which curiously doesn't actually include who it's from. So let's look first at the Al Jazeera World one. Interestingly enough, if you go to the page where this documentary is from, and you scroll down to the date, which was cut off by Ethan Klein, you see that it's from the 10th of September 2014, and you see that from the text here, despite government denials.
Bro, just watch the actual video and know other people's opinions or takes on it. Interesting. Well, considering that I already literally just said the things that BadEmpanada is saying in this video, perhaps I've already seen pieces of this video and already correctly addressed it. He's just saying you won't watch the nuke because it would cook you? That's interesting. Why won't he actually talk to me where he can't clip me out of context? Is he too afraid? This is fact-checking, by the way. This isn't like someone else's opinions on the nuke. We can talk right now if he wanted to.
Investigation uncovers evidence of slave labor in Yemen. Now, we might ask the question, who was the government of Yemen 2014? Was it the Houthis?
I even said I would watch the nuke with him, side by side. I already know what clips he used in the nuke because, ironically enough, if Ethan Klein's fan base wanted to know a lot of the context behind the clips on the content puke, they could simply go to a video on my YouTube page that came out months before the content puke actually came out. Ethan Klein versus Hasan Piker explained 4 months ago. I promise you, if you are in Ethan Klein's fan base and actually went in and watched Ethan Klein versus Hasan Piker explained, you'd be shocked at how much of the content puke was addressed already months prior. So if Ethan wanted to understand the context behind a lot of the clips that he'd used, if he was actually spending months and months and months on end doing research, he could have accidentally arrived at this video where he could have basically figured out what the actual background was. But I don't think he's interested. I don't think he's interested in the context behind the clips that he used. I think he just wanted to do Hasbara. That's it. It's much easier to shelter your audience from the truth. I'm the one who's saying, if you have some brilliant takes, we can have a conversation in person where you can't clip me out of context. I made this video before the content puke. It's out there for everyone. It's out there for everyone to see. And maybe if they watch this video, they'll come to the conclusion, they'll come to an interesting conclusion where they'll go, wait a minute, if there was all of this extra additional context to a lot of the clips that I saw in the content puke, why didn't Ethan do his research? Perhaps he doesn't care about the truth at all. Perhaps he doesn't know about the history of Israel at all. Why not? He's not watching anymore. He pulled up to the stream for a bit and heard the part where he said he's afraid to talk to you, and all he said is going to give me back my hat. So sad, Lamau. What hat? The irony, of course, is that there's also literally conversations that we had face to face that people can go back and watch. Ironically enough, he literally clipped those conversations out of context as well. How do you clip chimp a convo that you were a part of a year later to completely change the actual points that I was making? He said you're a psycho for having this video pinned. He thinks you have it pinned all the time. No, one of the things I learned from the unethical React Gate that I participated in was better standards and practices. One of those better standards and practices was to pin the video that I'm reacting to.
No, it was the.
I don't understand. He wanted my attention for the longest time, and I gave him a crumb of it back, and now he's saying he doesn't want my attention. I'm confused. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It truly does not make any sense.
Saudi-backed government. This article is not about the Houthis. It's about the Saudi-backed government. If anything, this is pro-Houthi propaganda because these are the people who the Houthis fought against. But if you thought that was bad, just wait for this. Exclusive. Houthis restore slavery in Yemen. So this is an article by Arshak Al-Awsat. Exclusive. Houthis restore slavery in Yemen. Modern slavery is prevalent in Yemeni regions under the control of Iran-backed Houthi militias. Sources close to the group told us that civilians have been forced into slavery by the Houthis. The Houthis are working tirelessly to restore slavery in Yemen. Several local reports have confirmed this. Yemeni activists have revealed this. They told us. A civilian who works for a pro-Houthi leader told us that he has been a slave for years without pay. And then experts confirmed that the Houthis have been forcing civilians into slavery. Wow, those are some really great sources. It's someone told us, we swear we didn't make this up. Someone told us, we swear we didn't make this up. Someone told us, we swear we didn't make this up. Like 5 times over. That's interesting sourcing there. Even despite any sort of bias of the newspaper, that's obviously just a complete nothing burger. I can't believe I said that. I wonder why.
Someone is cleaning up his IG comments on his latest post like crazy. Oh yeah. Wait, I saw that. Wasn't that on his own subreddit, H3H3? People were complaining about, please just stop talking about Hasan. Like, we get it, bro. We get it. We get it. Like, holy shit. Bro, just dial this grown, sad man up and end this. If he doesn't want to answer, he's proven a loser. I'm not going to harass him. On the H3 podcast IG, I wonder if they deleted the comments now. No, I'm not going to harass him. I've already made my stance known. If he wants to talk to me about the content puke, we can talk about the content puke. He can have the clips ready to go.
This newspaper would just say stuff like that so brazenly based on nothing except trust us, bro. I wonder why. I'll tell you why. I don't actually wonder. I know why. Because this newspaper, Arshak Al-Awsat, was founded with the approval of the Saudi.
Okay, I covered all this yesterday. I don't know why you guys wanted me to watch this video. Like, I literally covered all of this yesterday. I did this exact same investigation yesterday by basically going through these steps, piece by piece. Arshak Al-Awsat. I mean, I guess there's more people in here. Probably more Ethan Klein fans in here as well. Maybe they'll actually see the truth as well. Even though then I'd have to basically explain to them like that the Saudi coalition forces with American weapons did a man-made blockade after the previous very unpopular Yemeni leadership escaped to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia and the UAE basically created a man-made famine in Yemen and killed a shit ton of people. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, if we were in here. The other one we wanted you to watch was about the Jewish expulsion from Arab countries. It's like number 8 or so. Yeah, that's the other thing that I also talked about extensively as well. The comparison between Plan Dalit and the Nakba to forcible Jewish expulsions from other Arab nations who are not Palestinian, by the way, is ridiculous. The fact that he had the audacity to say that 1 million Jews were forcibly expelled from surrounding Arab regions as though it was the same as the ethnic cleansing that the Palestinians experienced during the Nakba from 1947 all the way to 1949, okay, with untold amounts of planned violence. Like that is truly, he's playing videos of you explaining the context part and just stopped on it. Yeah, I don't think he wants to see the truth. I don't think he wants to understand the truth because once again, those are different Arab countries, okay? Even if they all militarily were trying to expel their Jewish populations, okay? And I'm not saying that there wasn't harassment and people escaping these countries, okay, due to pan-Arabic nationalism, but also beyond that, the actions of Israel against the Palestinian population that created unimaginable backlash, as Jews often suffer around the world when Israel does violent actions that they masquerade as doing so for Judaism. Okay, but the notion that this is even remotely comparable to the military actions of Zionist brigades, early Zionist brigades, is insane. Okay, there is no way to look at that. There is literally no way to look at that other than just pure Hasbara. That's why I pointed out that this is either pure stupidity and Ethan does not know the real history. Okay? Like, if he's calling me anti-Semitic for saying that the Israeli government also participated in collaborating and in some instances applying pressure from European countries, or rather directly blowing up synagogues in Iraq, for example, then he's not calling me anti-Semitic. He's calling Avi Shleim anti-Semitic, for example. Okay? Except for Hassan viewers, every action that Hamas does can be justified because of the apartheid. No. This is completely incorrect. Okay? It's completely incorrect. And the only reason why you're saying that is because you're trying to cope, but you unfortunately are not clever enough to come up with a better Hasbara talking point. You're attacking a straw man that you made up in your mind. My argument is never that everything that Hamas is infallible and everything that Hamas does is good. That has never been my argument at all. My argument is that the standard of violence is set by the colonial entity. Okay? He is too afraid of addressing the truth. He is too afraid of educating his chat on the truth. I think it's an incredibly irresponsible thing to do as a massive content creator who has, now a smaller audience, but still a relatively sizable progressive audience. Okay? Ethan showed the context, but said it changes nothing about his point. if I can't call Klansmen inbred, what the f can I do? Where is the Oh, here, Ethan
Hello,
Klein
everyone.
denies
Welcome
the
to another
Nakba.
debunking of Ethan Klein's supposed content nuke. So, at one point in his supposed content nuke, Ethan Klein attempts to justify the Israeli settler colonial state and its expulsion of Palestinians by glossing over the Nakba, and that basically the Arab world just randomly, crazily became full anti-Semitic, not reacting to anything in particular at all, and expelled and forced out and pogromed all of the Jews. And we're going to go over all of the examples that he uses here to justify this claim. So, firstly, let's watch him gloss over the Nakba here.
To think that Jews, as an ethnic minority in Israel, would not be safe? After all, Israel is a...
You're getting his arguments wrong. Watch the video. I mean, I watched bits and pieces of the video at this point. Like, the inbred argument is completely wrong. One must ask the question, how did Ethan Klein do so much research and get this so unimaginably wrong? One must also doubly ask this question to Ethan Klein himself directly. Why did he, after getting it wrong, refuse to learn the true context of the situation? I've tweeted about this. I've used this as an obvious example of Ethan clipping me out of context. Why did it take 4 attempts for Ethan to even see the rest of the context and then still continue saying, no, it doesn't matter. I think you're still anti-Semitic. And not only that, but also, why is it appropriate for Ethan to clip me out of context all the goddamn time, but then you're like, you're taking him out of context. You're taking him out of context over and over again. Okay? If I am losing some of this context and nuance because I'm looking at clips, I think the best solution here would be to have a direct face-to-face conversation instead of him clicking on my stream and trying to find clippable moments from my stream. That's all I'm stating.
A country of refugees. If the Jews didn't come from...
It's so funny. Does he think he's a refugee or Keeler Klein are a refugee? You guys aren't refugees. You make refugees. Palestinians are refugees because of you. Get it.
I think another gross part of this was him saying that me saying that rapes happening on October 7 does not change the dynamic for me one bit, and that this does not justify genocide. Him consistently using that over and over again in a malicious way, I think is completely inappropriate. Completely inappropriate. You can say, bro, watch the video all day. I said I would watch the video with him. Okay? I said I would watch the video with him.
It's straight, okay?
From Europe after the Holocaust, they came from the surrounding...
Guys, listen. You can come in here and say, oh, you're crashing out or whatever all day, every day. Okay? The reality of the matter is, I think most people, reasonable people, can understand who has been on an extended crash out for the past 6 months, perhaps even longer. I'm not the one trying to dox Reddit mods. I'm not the one going after random Redditors and declaring war on random Reddits, random subreddits, okay? I'm not the one posting at 3 a.m. Instagram stories every single day. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know that he was doing half of this shit for the longest time because I deliberately avoided looking into it, okay? I'm not the one trying to send my audience after journalists that have written articles about me far before he even chose to do this weird Hasbara thing where he's like, I'm pro-Palestinian, but no one is defending Palestine in the way that I want to, you know? There's a clip of him saying how he fully understands what you meant by rapes not changing the dynamic months before the content nuke, but he's so disingenuous that he shifted his stance to support his narrative. I have not seen it, but that would not be surprising. He literally said he's considering getting journalists on Slate to do a retraction, calling them names live. That's so insane. I'm not the one who joined forces with the ADL to get people deplatformed and celebrated that over and over again. Okay. And I'm certainly not the one who is saying that they want to go to Israel and show how multifaceted and multicultural and how free of a society it is. You know? That's it. There's a reason why everyone that is not completely trapped in the fuck Hasan, trapped in the fuck Hasan brigades is looking at this from the outside going, I don't even like Hasan, and I thought he was a real piece of shit, but Ethan has made me reconsider him in a totally different light. That's it. I think being pro-genocide kind of hurts your soul a little bit. What was the final straw that made you respond to this stuff? When I saw the wait, what? Ethan
Get
Klein?
the injury special at McDonald's now. Let's break it down.
Ethan, wait. Slate did a podcast on Ethan Klein attacking
How could you not?
FOMO. After you posted an Instagram story that claimed potential collaboration fell apart due to anti-Semitism, posted problematic behavior and language the Kleins have exhibited on camera, soon flooded the subreddit, calling out the podcaster for their past controversies. Since then, Ethan has used this platform to threaten multiple subreddits, seemingly gearing up to come after FOMO. I still don't know how to say the subreddit. What's actually crazy about this is that Asmongold exists, yet he chooses to focus his small D energy towards you. Yes, because it's literally purely about personal vendetta. That's it. FOMO. The Klein's battle against FOMO begs the question, can you sue a subreddit for defamation? And should snark pages prepare public figures to fight back? Wait, was Hasan's poop sock actually linking this? Oh my God, and I banned him for the day? Shut the fuck up. I'm going to click on this link now. Hold on. I'm going to click on his link. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I'm issuing a retraction. I'm unbanning Hasan's poop sock. I'm issuing a retraction and unbanning Hasan's poop sock. I apologize. Justice served. Justice delayed is justice denied. But yet, justice is still served on this day, okay? Wow. Vindicated. Hasan is a woman. I am freeing him. I thought he was doing a poop sock. His name is Hasan's poop sock. Give me a break. Okay? You know what? Hasan's poop sock, if you're still in here after you got a 1-day ban, and I don't know if you are, but if you're still in here, you have one poop sock, like an actual poop sock that you can send me at any given moment. It doesn't matter. I could be interviewing Bernie Sanders, okay? And you can send me a poop sock and I will click on it in front of Bernard Sanders, okay? You have a lifetime, one usage poop sock, okay? I think that is a appropriate IOU for the 1-day ban that I very quickly resolved after finding the truth. After 2 hours, his 1-day timeout turned into a 2-hour timeout, and I'm giving him reparations, okay? And I'm telling him he has a one-time poop sock opportunity. He's currently watching an out-of-context clip of you yesterday, explaining the context of a clip he watched out of context. I can't make shit up. It's ironic because I also called this ahead of time that he was going to do that. Bro, why is this subreddit claiming you're behind the Slate video, Lamau? I didn't even know it existed. I literally banned a chatter for linking it, thinking that it wasn't a real thing. You were all here when the lifetime poop sock allowance was given. I wonder why there's a major difference in the what Creator Clash 3 needs a headline fight. Here are the options: Ethan Klein versus Hassan Piker, Hasanabi versus H3H2 Productions, Vape Nation versus Hank Pecker. Ethan's gonna get mad at him. Ethan's gonna get mad at iDubbbz for even saying this. I genuinely don't get it. Why is he so scared to talk to you? Because he knows I know more than him. That's why. What do you mean? This way he can shelter his audience from the truth about all the lies he spread, not only about me, but also, more importantly, because I don't give a if he lies about me. Who gives a shit? Okay? I'm just one person. But I think what is abhorrent is to literally misinform your audience, either deliberately or because you simply have not done enough research on Israel and the history of Israel. Ethan plays devil's advocate, agreeing with Hasan. Hila doesn't like it and puts words in Hasan's mouth. What is this?
For sexual violence and savage R words on October 7th. Doesn't matter if R words happen on October 7th. It doesn't change the dynamic for me. What's interesting about that quote specifically is that I get what he means in that one. Like, I felt like he said worse stuff than that. Because he's saying, even if the R words happened, well, I think the way he phrases it up, even if it happened, they did happen.
Yes.
But he's saying, even if they did happen, it wouldn't change the calculus for him, which I understand what he's saying. But I guess the way he's saying it is,
Horrific.
even if it didn't happen, is up.
Yeah, because I was debating a person who was saying, why do you not deny that sexual assaults have happened? That's interesting. Hasan's poop sock not only did you get untimed out because you were correct, but you also got a lifetime poop sock opportunity. Stop pretending there's even an iota of chance it's not deliberate. His rhetoric is extremely careful and straight up out of the Ruth Wise playbook on how to do Hasbara. Yeah, no, it's just like, yeah, he knows what's up. Like he has to.
Yeah, I would not argue that.
I'm just trying to play out.
Oh, so they agree with me. Wait, do they both agree with me that like genocide is completely unjustifiable, even if sexual assaults happen on October 7th? Because I think that's a pretty normal position to have.
Devil's advocate here.
It's just a devil take, not devil advocate.
I don't even think this, but just to play devil's advocate for a second.
Not
I mean,
good?
just imagine to the girls that did survive, somebody's saying,
That's a very
I don't
callous.
care if it happened. You know,
Well, so like,
it's
the ones that
the
I
last
guess
thing that I would want to hear.
the ones that jumped out to me as more offensive when he's just like, basically he was like, what rapes? Like,
Yeah,
he's just
yeah.
straight up saying like,
So
no.
like all of it combined is problematic.
Yeah, all of it combined, definitely.
That's not what I said. For the record, I think I was probably responding to a chatter when I was talking about the rapes that were committed by Israeli concentration camp guards at Sde Taiman when there was a pro-rape riot that took place in Israel that successfully took out the concentration guards from the grips of prosecution. And then the main rapist became a television personality.
It doesn't change the dynamic for me. Mr. Specker declares before finally admitting that Palestinian resistance is not perfect, a euphemism for terrorism. Okay.
I get the I get the context of one of the clips, but all the out of context clips combined is bad. Also, for literally this entire process, like we're now going back and forth about like an out of, I think he is slipping up in this clip by giving you the benefit of the doubt, and Hila is correcting him to make sure they stay on message. Yeah, what's really f***ed up about this process, by the way, what's really f***ed up about this process is that, one, I don't even know if they've like talked about the rape riots in Israel. I doubt it. Okay. But two, there literally is not even any personal evidence so far, with one exception from the UN report. Israel literally denied independent investigators to actually investigate the sexual violence that happened on October 7. And also, Israeli newspapers literally revealed a couple months after the fact, or not even a couple months, like literally a month after the fact, that one of the organizations that was handling the bodies ruined the forensic investigations that could have taken place. Okay? That is completely ridiculous. Why the would I be, why in the ever-loving would you ever assume that I would not want justice for victims, regardless of what nation of origin they're from, even if they're from an apartheid state that's conducting a genocide? Okay? It doesn't fucking matter. I want justice. I want the truth. The Israeli government has denied the opportunity for the truth time and time again. Take it up with them and not me. That is insane. This tactic was so commonly applied in the immediate aftermath of October 7, where people in America, prominent Zionists in America, would get mad at college students for basically saying the exact same thing that Haaretz's editorial board was writing and reporting on. Like they would say, this is the most anti-Semitic thing that has ever happened in the history of mankind, is what the attitude was for college students that were basically saying verbatim the exact same thing that the Haaretz editorial board was saying. Yeah, here it is. Israel blocks UN probe into Hamas sexual crimes from October 7 to avoid inquiry into abuse of Palestinians. The UN Special Representative on Conflict-Related Sexual Violence asked to investigate Hamas's alleged crimes on October 7 and towards the hostages, but Israel refused their request to access Israeli detention facilities to examine the claims of IDF abuse. Israeli women's rights groups warned this could lead to Israel, instead of Hamas, being added to the UN sexual violence blacklist. No, he won't call Haaretz anti-Semitic. He's hitting a liberal Zionist position, which implies that every pro-Palestinian is actually doing it wrong. and they're not actually pro-Palestine in the right way. Okay? That's it. It's a very specific type of defending Israel for a very specific audience. That's how you try to capture the attention of progressives, because you can't just outright pull a Michael Rappaport and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to, every Palestinian, they should all die. If you say that, your audience is going to be like, what the are you saying? You're a monster. Okay? So you hit a very different line where you're like, I'm pro-Palestine, but
I want to talk about Ukraine, so I'm going to.
Oh, not this one. Hold on. This is what
Arab countries that expelled them in massive amounts following the 1948 war. In fact, there was more Jews.
Was it his original argument that you yourself weren't anti-Semitic, but your audience was anti-Semitic and you were harboring anti-Semites? What happened to that? Yeah. What happened to that is he just went balls to the wall and started being like, no, I'm pro-Palestine, but Hasan is really anti-Semitic, because who gives a f-? You know what I mean? Who gives a f-? His audience is not going to double check it. His audience is not going to be like, wait a minute, this guy that you had a podcast with who literally has spent the past 10 years fighting anti-Semitism online to such a degree that you and him had the exact same neo-Nazi enemies who, still hate me seemingly more than they hate Ethan, which is what's so crazy. Like, I think what ended up happening here is like I'm not saying he's pivoting to the right, okay? Because that's what a lot of people's suspicions were, that Ethan is like pivoting to the right. But I think he got back into good graces of a lot of bottom-feeding drama slop tubers by attacking someone that they hate more than even Ethan Klein. Again, goes into what I was saying with clip farming. Everyone desensitizes each other, so when you hear heinous shit, you don't feel bad for it. That's what it is.
Displaced than Palestinians during the Nakba.
So the Nakba for him was just a war, like this long-planned expulsion of Palestinians, which the Arab intervention was explicitly a reaction to. So how is it a nation of refugees when it declared its independence and its own dominion over land that it had taken from Palestinians, when these people weren't even there yet, obviously? And then watch this.
1 million Jews. All of these surrounding Arab countries had vibrant Jewish communities in huge number, hundreds of thousands. Now, if you look at them, you're looking at close to, if not literally, 0 Jews left in these countries. Just to give you an
Now let's go over his examples of this, okay? Let's go over his justifications for this, and let's see how much this lines up with his narrative of expulsion.
Idea. Here's a visual representation of the Jewish refugees after 1948. Morocco had 265,000 Jews. Now it has 2,000.
Okay, so Morocco at this time was not self-ruling. It was still a French colonial possession. What happened in Morocco is that the Jewish Agency, which was one of the leading organizations advocating for forming a colonial state in Palestine and trying to further such ends, struck an agreement with the French governor of Morocco to force Moroccan Jews to immigrate. So what this was Israelis working in tandem with the French colonial power to force the Jews out of Morocco. Morocco did not expel them. Israel sent ships there specifically to pick these people up. Israel was an active participant in this expulsion. And the reason why they did this is obviously because it's to Israel's advantage. If Jews are forced out of other places, they want it to happen.
Yep.
That's why they actively participated in doing it here. Because a Jew elsewhere is not useful to Israel, but a Jew who moves to Israel is. His next example.
Algeria had 140,000. Now it has about 50.
Algeria. What happened in Algeria?
One.
Well, Algeria was also a French colony. And when the French colonized Algeria, they murdered about 3 to 4 million.
By the way, literally said almost verbatim the exact same things that BadEmpanada is talking about right here yesterday when I heard Ethan for the first time on pieces of his content puke talk about how 1 million Jews were ethnically deported from their ancestral homelands in surrounding Arab nations.
Algerian Muslims who were the majority population. And in an effort to divide and conquer, they attempted to divide the Jewish population of Algeria from the Muslim population of Algeria when they colonized it by passing something called the Crémeau Decree, which afforded French citizenship to all Jews in Algeria. This turned Algerian Jews into French citizens, and soon after this, they integrated into the French settler society, which was oppressing the Algerian Muslims and Christians. Thus, the French Jews became French, both culturally and by citizenship. And unfortunately, most of them decided to collaborate with the colonial power. Effectively, they were French at this point. Then, once Algeria won its independence from France, the French settlers and the French Jews were given an ultimatum: either renounce their French citizenship or leave the country. This was not specifically aimed at Jews, it was for everyone. This was not specifically aimed at Jews, it was for all French. And almost all of the Jews chose to go to France. So this was not an expulsion. Nor did these people even go to Israel. They went to France. Again, French colonialism's fault, not the Algerians' fault.
Also, not the Palestinians' fault. Once again, like even if every single surrounding MENA country, all the way to the Levant, decided independently to forcibly expel their Jewish populations, that still would not be the fault of the Palestinians. Because guess what? Arabs are not a monolith, okay? They're not one blob of inferior peoples. That's what's so frustrating about this. That's why it's such a classic Hasbara line, okay? To just turn around and attribute the suspected crimes of all Arab nations, like different Arab nations with different cultures, different languages that they speak, to the Palestinians that were ethnically displaced from their indigenous homelands. How insane is that? If you scratch the surface of that commentary, you immediately recognize how unimaginably racist that is. So why is it that a supposedly progressive person who has the audacity to claim that they're pro-Palestine engaging in this kind of sentiment, engaging in this kind of monolithizing that you hear from Trump supporters when they talk about all undocumented immigrants? Why? It's because that's how Zionism works. That's why even if you're a liberal Zionist, you still are lapping up a metric ton of fascist, ethno-religious supremacist propaganda. That's it. It's racism through and through.
Same as in Morocco. His next example is Iraq. Iraq is actually a country that very desperately tried to keep its Jews. Iraq even passed laws which forbid Jews from leaving for Israel, as you can see listed here in this article. But what happened? Well, Iraq was the target of pervasive terrorist attack by Zionist/Israeli agents in order to create a narrative there of Iraq being untenable for the continued presence of Jews. After a number of terrorist attacks, and the Israeli government lobbying the Iraqi government to allow Jews to leave, they rescinded the law that prevented Jews from leaving for Israel, which then resulted in mass migration of Iraqi Jews. So as you can clearly see, this is...
By the way, this was also reported by Israeli academic Avi Shlaim, okay? He's British-Israeli of Iraqi descent. Avi Shlaim extensively wrote about this, okay? Once again, if you are a responsible, supposedly progressive, supposedly pro-Palestinian content creator in the way that Ethan Klein claims he is, he should have done at least a little bit of reading on the matter instead of going to a person who has done the reading on this matter and falsely smearing him with accusations of anti-Semitism at a time when anti-Semitism is exploding. That's what's so crazy about this. Like, you're attacking the wrong person, okay? And you're also lying. You're lying about the history of the genocidal apartheid state that you're trying to desperately defend.
This is nowhere near as black and white as just people being expelled to Israel. The Zionists wanted the Jews to leave. They wanted them to leave by any means necessary, to the point they started bombing synagogues in order to create this sort of fear among the Jews there so that they would want to leave. And then they exerted government pressure, and then they exerted diplomatic pressure on the Iraqi government to that end as well.
Iraq had 150,000 Jews, now 10. And I want to give a special shout out to my boy over in Afghanistan, one known Jew. We know him, we love him.
So now he brings up Afghanistan. I think it's pretty clear that Ethan Klein doesn't actually know what the is even going on here, because Afghanistan is not Arab. Afghanistan is in Central Asia.
Yeah.
So it's like Afghanistan is not Middle Eastern, it's not Arab, it's in Central Asia. They don't speak Arabic there.
That's also, ironically, Amera brain rot right there. That is like perfect Amerifat. That's like perfect Amerifat sentiment. You know what I mean? They're all, what are they, like Muslim or Pashtun, but that's like a different kind, you know what I mean? They're all the same.
They're not Arab at all. Just because they're Muslim, he thinks they're Arab. Afghanistan did not expel anyone in reaction to the creation of Israel. Nothing like that happened. It was essentially neutral during the whole thing. No one there.
I just tuned in and he said you didn't think the Holocaust, you think the Holocaust didn't happen? Yeah, okay, dude. Yeah, good luck. I don't even believe that. I think this person is just drama baiting. I don't think Ethan is that brain broken to lie about such a severe thing. Yeah, I think this person is baiting to try to like extend the back and forth. Nah, he literally just did. If you clip it, I will only believe you if you clip exactly what he said. There is 0% chance that Ethan Klein is saying that I am a Holocaust denier. There is 0% chance.
They really cared about it. It was not a part of the coalition that responded to the Nakba by attacking Israel or anything like that. So this simply does not fit into your narrative here. It's outside of it. You citing it is incredibly stupid.
He's the one Afghan Jew.
They were forced to leave their homes, their lives, their property, and migrate to the only place in the world that would accept them, which was Israel. The irony of this whole situation.
He said that's like Holocaust denial. The process in which Jewish people voluntarily migrated to Israel, okay, or migrated to Israel in the ways that BadEmpanada also here correctly explained, including Mossad operations to create a sense of panic and uncertainty and instability in the Iraqi Jewish population. To compare that to the Holocaust is literally Holocaust revisionism, okay? That is unironically akin to Holocaust denial, okay? That is shockingly anti-Semitic.
Is that after the 1948 war, when Israel won,
He keeps calling Israel.
Yeah, oh, the Nakba, the 1948 war. That's another telltale sign that you're just also doing pro-Israeli propaganda. Like, you can't just call the Nakba as a pro-Palestine person, okay? As a pro-Palestine person, calling the Nakba, which was the ethnic displacement of 750,000 Palestinians from their indigenous land after untold amounts of violence and atrocities, including the ones in Deir Yassin, okay, very famously horrifying shit that the Zionist brigades did initially, okay? Calling that the 1948 war is straight up a dog whistle, okay? It's also interesting because if it was a war, why the did the Israeli Zionist brigades, after the Israeli state was developed, why the did they not let the Palestinian civilians back to their villages? Why did they famously shoot and kill Palestinians that tried to go back to their villages? Why can Ethan Klein, an American man born in, I think, California, if I'm not mistaken, go and visit Israel, but the people that were displaced from their ancestral homelands cannot visit Israel and don't have that freedom? We have American congresspersons that are Palestinian that don't have the same freedom of travel that Ethan Klein has in Israel, let alone the West Bank. How do people not understand that this is a completely unacceptable situation?
Lena's birthday.
By the way, let's not forget that Hasan just straight up lied about Jews not being massively expelled from Arab countries. Like, what? What? That's like Holocaust denial. I don't deny the Nakba. I fully acknowledge the realness and the upness and the terribleness of it, you know? And
why'd you keep calling it 1948 war then in your content puke? He just goes back and forth on his position. Sometimes he calls it a genocide. Other times he calls it not a genocide. Sometimes he calls it an apartheid. Other times he doesn't know. Sometimes he understands what I mean when I say that sexual assaults happening, the likelihood of sexual assaults happening does not change the dynamic of doing a genocide upon the entire Palestinian population. Then months later, he forgets that he understood the context and then puts that in his video over and over again, saying, oh, he's a rape denier. He's a rape denier. You know, Me Too means Jews too. That kind of Hasbara bullshit. Okay.
just the trauma of that incident. But Hasan is basically like the Holocaust didn't happen. I mean, it's a million Jews being expelled from.
Please tell me someone in this, please tell me a singular person in the background, in the production side was like, hey, Ethan, I think you're engaging in Holocaust revisionism by comparing what you are claiming is the forcible expulsion of 1 million Jews from surrounding territories into Israel to the literal Holocaust.
Expelling and genociding Palestinians to steal its country from them, just a war that they won.
Won the war to declare its independence, the Arab countries got super anti-Semitic against their own Jewish citizenry that had nothing to do with Israel. And
that had nothing to do with Israel. I very much just showed you that a lot of it had a whole lot to do with Israel, obviously. Obviously, if you genocide an entire Arab population and do so while screaming, we're doing this for Jews, we're doing this for Jews, we're doing this for Jews, some people are going to take you at their word. But still, that's not even what happened in the majority of these cases, as I just went over. His Algeria example was just completely misconstrued. The Jews of Algeria, in their majority, went to France, and it had nothing to do with anti-Semitism, everything to do with, you know, them not wanting to let the French colonizers keep living in their country after they kicked them out. Morocco, again, carried out by the French colonial occupiers with the enthusiastic collaboration and lobbying and pushing of the Israelis. Iraq,
correct the record of what he said originally. He said 1 million Jews were expelled during the Nakba, and he specifically made that comparison that it was more than the Palestinians expelled during the Nakba. Exactly. That's the other side of this. He literally said a more devastating thing happened to Jews in the MENA region, Middle East and North Africa, than the Palestinians being forcibly displaced from their ancestral homes in a planned expulsion following massacres, deliberate massacres and planned ethnic expulsion of Palestinians. Okay? This was not Hamas. This was not Hezbollah. These were Palestinian villagers. Like in the case of Deir Yassin, the Palestinian village of Deir Yassin had actually a cooperation and friendship agreement with the surrounding Israeli villages. Not Israeli, surrounding Zionist or Jewish villages that had Zionist brigades working alongside the Jewish villages in the area. This was before Israel even existed. Okay?
Zionist terrorists helped that process quite a bit, didn't they? And the Israeli government literally lobbied them for it to happen. Afghanistan, nothing to do with any of this. So he erases the Nakba and slyly tries to justify the Israeli settler colonization of Palestine by just calling a complete ethnic cleansing of as many Palestinians as they could get their hands on in order to steal their land. Nothing more than a war which Israel rightfully won. And then he tries to justify this land being colonized by saying that, well, the people who came were refugees, all of them were just randomly expelled, when in literally all of the examples that he chose, in only one of them was anyone actually even remotely expelled as a result of that, which was Iraq. And that was only after massive Zionist pressure, both diplomatic and literal terrorist attacks being carried out in synagogues. Ethan Klein is basically attempting to justify settler colonialism by reframing the colonizers who came there and stole Palestinian land and homes as victims themselves, which, I don't know, in his logic seems to justify it, which not only wouldn't justify it in the first place, but which also just isn't true. So yeah, just another one of Ethan Klein's many ridiculous lies. Oh, and apart from all of that, I'd just like to note as well, this is something very important that most people don't know. But in 1975, there was a joint declaration from the governments of Morocco, Yemen, Libya, Sudan, Iraq, and Egypt that any Jew who had left post-Israeli independence...
the PLO demanded there be reparations for any Jewish person from any of these surrounding countries that was harmed. Okay? These countries would pay reparations to Jewish people that left these surrounding Arab nations. You know who didn't like that at all? Israel, obviously. And once again, it's not like this is the fault of the PLO or the Palestinians anyway. They were the victims in this situation. Okay?
Independence could return and have their property returned. So whatever...
Yeah, he needs to read one book. Just read 10 myths. Read one Ilan Pape book, okay? Read 10 myths. That's all you need to do. It's probably the easiest one to just dissolve all this nonsensical, ahistorical, Hasbara pro-Israel propaganda. Listen to the audiobook. Watch one Ilan Pape video. discussing the history of Israel.
Wrong happened to them here. The countries in question were willing to right this wrong. But Israel wouldn't even let them take them up on this offer if they wanted, because the whole reason why Ethan Klein and other Zionists mention this talking point is not honestly. It's because they just use it to weaponize against the Palestinian right of return, because the Palestinians actually want to return to their homes. The Israelis don't. The Israelis live great. They don't need some grandpa's home in Iraq or whatever. They stole a Palestinian's house and land a long time ago. They're living large at the expense of the Palestinians. So them even bringing this up is total bullshit because, one, it was not simple expulsions, as Ethan Klein likes to claim.
The other stuff that was really funny and really stupid and immediately dismissible was shit like claiming that I was denying the genocide that took place upon the Uyghur population in China. And it's literally clips that are directly from our conversations with one another where he's like, that's when I started realizing he was a radical, scary man. Okay? And then he falsely claims that there is no article that I was talking about literally in that conversation. Of course that article exists. He just didn't put it in the video. So either he is stupid and didn't even realize that this article doesn't exist, or he knew that the article existed and deliberately removed it from his video, omitted that key detail to make it seem like I was lying to him. Every part of this video, and I cannot stress this enough, literally every single minutia in this video is false. I've never seen anything like this before. It's somehow worse than Willie Slop Show. It's shocking how bad it is. Like, you can misunderstand my positions, okay? But how the fuck do you do it this bad? Also, you didn't even say death camps during that. You just put that word in your mouth. Yeah, no, I very specifically said it's not death camps. It's concentration camps. It's re-education camps. That's what I said, because that is the truth, okay? It was so bad, I think Willie Slop Show was fact-checking Ethan. That's so funny.
And obviously all other Zionists like to claim. Two, the countries in question have offered. They have invited these people back, while Israel has never done that for their Palestinian victims, has it? And they invited them back literally 50 years ago. 50 years ago. In many of these cases, that was like only a few years after they left. Like 5-10 years after they left. The Palestinians have been exiled for 80 years by Israel. There's no comparison here. Israel has never made any such offer like this. In fact, Israel has never even acknowledged Palestinian ownership of a single stolen plot of land or a house or anything like that. So yeah, there's no equivalence here regardless of how much Ethan Klein and other dishonest Zionists like himself want them to be. Just another one of Ethan Klein's disgusting lies in his pathetic content puke.
What else does he have in here? Ethan Klein paid off by Zionist billionaire? I don't know about that. Watch 5. Ethan Klein's insane Islamophobic
Hello,
conspiracy
everyone. Welcome
theory.
back to another episode of Ethan Klein's Content Nuke being destroyed. In this one, I want to cover really quickly Ethan Klein spreading a far-right Islamophobic conspiracy.
Which Elon Pape book would you recommend first? 10 Myths. 10 Myths is it's the easiest to read.
Theory regarding a made-up holiday, which they call International Jihad Day or International Day of Jihad. No. And Ethan Klein saw someone else, an Israeli Zionist, say that this day existed, and he just took this guy at his word at face value and included that in his video in like this conspiracy theory regarding Twitch like anti-Semitically blocking Israelis because they're Jewish, which was his claim. So the context of this is that Ethan Klein claimed in this segment that Twitch blocked new signups from Israel on the 13th of October 2023, which is not true because they actually blocked signups from Israel and Palestine, and mentioning the Palestine part destroys his entire argument. So as you can very clearly see in this article right here, Israel and Palestine, something that he leaves out of his article to try and frame it as like an anti-Semitic ban of Jews. And the reason for this, according to Twitch, was that they temporarily disabled signups with email verifications because they were getting a lot of new accounts that were posting like combat footage and like Gaza atrocities and stuff, which they didn't know how to deal with. So they just temporarily assigned signups of new accounts from both Israel and Palestine, not just Israel. So his whole anti-Semitic anti-Semitism narrative ruin there, obviously. Not that it would be bad for a website to boycott Israel. That would be good. Israel should be boycotted by everyone all over the world. But in this case, unfortunately, that wasn't the case. It was just a strategic moderation decision to try and control the amount of, like, obviously not allowed on the platform, like, material showing violence and stuff that was being uploaded from these two places. And Ethan Klein lied about that being an anti-Semitic ban on Israel. But aside from that, he literally claimed that this ban happened because, I shit you not, according to him.
Yeah, this part is also crazy because, like, this part is also crazy because straight up, okay, all of the stuff that he did that I didn't even address in terms of, like, coming after every pro-Palestinian person, linking alongside, linking up with like the ADL, and also Sex Pestiny and his Brigadier General Dan Diddy G Saltman, okay, to say that, like, to literally go along with his lies, by the way. Like, Dan Saltman straight up lied to every news outlet and the thousands of emails that he sent saying that Twitch had banned every Israeli account or some shit. Then they realized that they lied to every goddamn person, and they tried to be like, oh, all right, well, you know, oopsie, I guess it's fine. 60-year-old weirdo, too. Daniel Blake Saltman, who got millions from Sean Diddy Combs to make, what was it, Tiny Chat or whatever? Right, he was like, delete this part of the VOD. Yeah, Dan Saltman was trying to get Tom Cotton to pull me in front of Congress. Tom Cotton, these guys are liberals, by the way. Remember, they're liberals. He tried to get Tom Cotton to call me in front of Congress to investigate the anti-Semitism of my chat. That's what he was trying to do. Can you imagine how insane you have to be to, on the one hand, claim that you're a liberal, and then on the other hand, using a fascist like Tom Cotton to investigate a petty beef that not you, but your sex pest daddy had with another content creator? That's what's so shocking. The well of depravity, dude. It is psychotic. Wonderful people Ethan aligned with here. Wonderful people Ethan Klein aligned with. Such a fantastic time. This is what I was talking about when I said, like, there's a literal genocide going on, and that's what Ethan Klein was spending all of his time on whenever he addressed Israel or Palestine. He can cry behind his Instagram stories all day, every day. I'm here. I can talk to him in person. Like, this is why it's so funny. Look. You think about leaving your echo chamber anytime soon. You wrote that while I was in the process of saying, I'm willing to talk to Ethan Klein in person. He's the one who's avoiding me. Like, how funny. I don't think you know how words work. You know what I mean? I don't think you understand the language that I'm speaking. I don't have a sub-only chat. I don't have a members-only chat. I don't ban paid members for having disagreements with me to this degree. The disagreements do exist, and I have banned paid members in the past. Some of those instances, ironically and very famously, have been plastered all over the internet to declare me the top transphobe. Okay, if you guys remember. Those paid members are still here. I don't remove comments meticulously from every single one of my videos because they are showcasing my depravity for all to see. You won't talk to you on stream because he can't erase the last 30 seconds of your stream like he can with his. I did bring back Hassan's poop sock. I brought his ass back.
Twitch observes a holiday which according to him and this guy who is uncritically citing is called the International Global Day of Jihad or something. Just watch.
Israeli and American media started to pick up the story, which finally forced Twitch to respond. He also explains the block started on October 13th, which happens to be Global Jihad Day, when Islamic terrorists call on others globally to act, which he
Bro, you can't be serious. Ethan Klein fans cannot be serious. And they were like, you have to watch this. You have to watch this video. My favorite content creator happens to be the dumbest person alive. My favorite content creator happens to be the biggest moron of all time. And you have to sit there and watch his 1 hour and 43-minute hit piece that flopped because it was filled to the fucking brim with idiocy. Is this going to be poop sock? Twitch never banned Israel. Oh yeah, here. This is the famous incident. Here, let's take a look.
And either be suspended for a year or never be hired again. I just saw something.
Okay.
I understand what happened here.
The emails accused Twitch of suspending all Israeli accounts for a year. A claim the company debunked.
Yeah, go back. Do you see what she did?
Well, like
that would be an egregious. That's like journalistic malpractice. That's a fabricated quote.
I don't understand how this happens though. Like how does someone keep their job after doing this type of shit?
Because
like the thing is, I sent this to the editor and I said this was incorrect and that I've never said this.
Okay. You're sure that your emails don't have the?
Yeah.
Again, tens of thousands, almost 100,000 emails were sent, okay, to every single marketing company that was working with Twitch, to every single brand that was buying ads on Twitch. Why do they do this? Because I don't have individual sponsors that they could go after. So they were like, we'll just take down Twitch. That weirdo right here openly said, I'm doing this because this sex pest and serial harasser and doxer, okay, in his rabid community of sycophants are not getting unbanned on Twitch while Hasan is still dominating the airwaves on Twitch. They openly admitted it. He said he didn't give a about any of this shit. He has said anti-Semitic shit. They both have said unimaginably anti-Semitic shit. They were just simply trying to apply pressure to Twitch so that Twitch would ban me before the election. That's it. And in the process, they literally doxed random people that work at Twitch, okay, and aggressively pursued them. Just like this fan base goes after every journalist that dares to write a positive article about me, not realizing that this kind of behavior is abnormal and under normal circumstances would probably be illegal. All they got in this process was for me to be shadow banned by Twitch. Okay? All they got in this process was for me to get shadow banned on Twitch. So on the day of the election, the only account that popped up was Asmongold's account. And even then, I still had 314,000 people watching live on the day of the election. As in 300,000 plus people either were already subscribed or were already watching and were already following. So I showed up on their list, their follower list, or they directly put in twitch.tv/Hasanabi to arrive at my page. So they failed even in that regard. And Ethan Klein was pursuing this. And he was pursuing this with all of the lies that these two morons were spreading.
Yes.
You sure?
Yes. You can go to the site and click the button. It's been the same. Why would I ever say that they suspended Israeli users? I know that's not true. No one would ever say that.
That's false. I found you. I wasn't following you. No, I was literally not on the algorithm.
I've never said this, and they're saying that I have said this. I did. I sent an email to the editor, and I said I demanded a retraction or a correction on it. If they don't, I will sue them.
Oh, no, wait, hold on. Forget it. Delete this part of the VOD.
Okay.
Your dumb email does say that.
No way.
Even more troubling, Twitch previously suspended all Israeli accounts for a year without public acknowledgement or explanation.
All right, well, never mind then. All right, we'll just trim that part out of the VOD. Well, there it is. Even more troubling, Twitch previously suspended all his...
They sent these out to every advertiser. Twitch has every right, if they chose to do so, to sue the out of these people. They actively brigaded using their Discord server, which the Bloomberg article that they're reading actually notes. Okay, they had to delete all of the Hasan posts from their subreddit for the time period because they were worried that their subreddit was going to get banned for also actively brigading and literally sending out botted emails to every advertiser saying that I was the arch anti-Semite. They're already posting the socials of the Slate hosts on Reddit. Yeah, I don't think these guys understand. You cannot behave like a cyber terrorist like this, okay? Inevitably, you're going to piss off the wrong people. Why don't you sue? I'm a public person, okay? You guys are delusional. You don't understand how litigation in America, especially for slander and things like this, work. The standard is incredibly, unimaginably high for someone who is a public personality, okay? Especially in America, because you also have to prove malicious, you have to prove malice as well. Which, ironically enough, these guys are so stupid because they were doing it in broad daylight that they actually do have a case for defamation. They do have a case for defamation because they have actually openly admitted to malice on camera like 1 million times. What is this? You spooked Ethan live?
Let me just
out of context would be to talk to me face to face instead of just watching me on a 30-second delay on your stream.
Wait, that's what I'm... Wait. How does he know I'm watching already?
You as a non-lawyer probably don't know enough to say that. No, man, you have to prove intent. Like you have to prove that this person is willingly and knowingly misrepresenting the truth. And then also on top of that, you have to show damages. It's a very complicated process. And the standards are unimaginably high for a public person. Okay? I'm not interested in engaging in litigation anyway. Like, I'm not going to sit here and show like a direct, try to compile exactly how I have been wronged and harmed. I don't give a especially because I just explained to you that, especially because I literally explained to you. Yeah, I know. Ethan literally said, I want Hasan to lose everything. That's malice. He went on to describe he wants you to lose, which is your career, money, and livelihood. Yeah. Also, I do think it's kind of loser shit. I mean, I haven't done it to Sex Pestiny. Once again, two things I always say. Judge me by my enemies, and history will vindicate me, okay? I think a lot of these people end up themselves over because all of that bad, toxic vibes, all of those awful vibes inevitably end up crumbling the empire you've built for yourself. That's not what malice means in the law. It's an intentional wrongful act, not just I hate the guy. Hasan, why would someone want to hate someone this much? Is he mentally ill? I mean, I don't know what it is, but I do think that I genuinely have a way. I think I genuinely do have a way of making people terrified, or I mean, making people completely unhinged. What is this? Ethan opens Hasan's stream, finds out he's fact-checking, closes the stream. He actually talked to me where he can't clip me out of context.
Bro, you are so pathetic.
Is he too afraid?
It's actually...
This is fact-checking, by the way. This isn't like someone else's opinions on the nuke.
Uh-huh. Whatever. So stupid.
Oh, so stupid. Let's just move away. Oh, so stupid. I don't fact check, please. Yeah. God forbid you show in real time any number of different lies that you told to your audience about Israel's history. Okay. Not even just like me out of context or anything like that, but just lies you've told about Israel, Israeli history in general. Oh no. They might accidentally learn something. They might accidentally learn the truth. Oh, how far the mighty have fallen from doing this to Steven Crowder to basically becoming the Steven Crowder.
Thinks is an odd coincidence. They were never...
Global Jihad Day! Twitch banned all Jews in the world on Global Jihad Day! It's everyone's favorite holiday, Global Jihad Day. So what actually happened? According to this article, what happened is Khaled Mashal, the former political bureau chairman of Hamas, called for what he called a day of jihad, which was not a day of calling for terrorism or something. He said a day of general mobilization in the Arab and Islamic world. And
I used to be a fan of both of you, and the longer it's been, the more I'm realizing that you're right and Ethan is just lying. I felt very gaslit at first. Yeah. So the problem here is there are still plenty of people in Ethan's camp that are literally progressive people. Wonderful people. They're just completely duped by the very carefully crafted echo chamber that Ethan has cultivated in a way where he is basically presenting complete falsehoods, not only about myself, but more importantly about Israeli history. Okay. And I think the second part of that is significantly more important than just him being like, you're anti-Semite, blah, blah, blah. I've heard that a million times over. There are thousands of people out there who legitimately think I am the arch terrorist. Okay. There are thousands of people who, I mean, I've gotten targeted by the ADL. They still target me. I've gotten targeted by Apex attack dog, Richie Torres. Okay. That's not an issue. You're not that smart. Drugs, Hasanabi, you're not that smart, to be honest. Who, name one? I like that you said you're not that smart, to be honest, and then immediately went, who, name one, while I was in the process of telling you one institution that has, you know, some institutional legitimacy, the Apartheid Defense League, ADL, and also Richie Torres, who is an American Democratic Party congressperson. So I don't know if I'm the stupid one, because I call myself stupid all the time, but I feel like you might be a little bit stupider than me. Okay? Oh, who could forget that random psycho living in Long Island? My brother's an H3 fan and he doesn't like you. I don't think his politics are bad. I just think he's annoying. And even he knows something is up. Every time he talks about you, he knows something is missing in this conversation. At least a small part of it is that me, his sister, wouldn't be watching you if what Ethan said was true. Yeah. Chat, please report one hawk using dirty words. This channel should be called Legion of F Words. Another 2013 account using a slur. This is, of course, a massive terms of service violation, which is weird because you're going to lose your 2013 account by doing this. I unbanned you because I want you to explain yourself. Here, let me ban and unban again. Oh, shit. Hold on.
And among the free people of the world, the day to rally support, operate, and participate actively. It is a day to demonstrate our love for Palestine, Jerusalem, and Al-Aqsa. He also appealed for donations to assist Gaza, which was currently experiencing an Israeli military incursion. Now, this was spun by far-right Zionist genocidal conspiracy theorists into being like a yearly holiday in which Global Jihad Day is celebrated and which like everyone does terrorist attacks to celebrate it or something. And this conspiracy theory took the words of someone calling for protests, pro-Palestine protests, and they spun that into being like a global day.
Kaya was crying and clawing at the door because I think she needed to go out and poop.
Day of Jihad, a phrase that he did not use, and then this led to real life attacks and threats against Muslims, and then this led to this Zionist idiot who Ethan Klein just uncritically cites, claiming that there exists the Global Day of Jihad, that Twitch apparently...
I can't believe he put Global Day of Jihad on there. That's crazy. Like that I didn't even know he did that.
Observes, like a yearly holiday that Twitch apparently observes. He just repeats that uncritically. Like he just straight up repeats a far-right, made-up Islamophobic conspiracy theory totally uncritically. So, yeah, folks, Ethan Klein, everyone, he legitimately put forth the notion that the Twitch corporation, owned by the Amazon corporation, celebrates a global holiday called the Global Day of Jihad, and that them banning IPs from Israel and Palestine on this day was like their way of celebrating and participating in the Global Day of Jihad. This guy legitimately believes that no one can respond to him. He legitimately believes that he's like the smartest guy in the world, and like his opponents just can't possibly deal with his incredible arguments.
Oh no, the F slur guy got his shit pushed.
And that's the sort of thing that he says.
Yeah, he got the wrong day of global jihad, dude. That's his problem. Didn't realize it was a blessing. It was you. It was that you were ignoring this clown. Ethan is exhausting. I mean, the reason why I ignored it is not because he had anything brilliant to say. The reason why I ignored it is because I know how he operates. He's just gonna, if I reacted to it on stream, he was literally gonna clip shit out of context as he's done to the minimal amount of things that I've responded to already, where he will just cut it out of context and then be like, what's he even saying? What's he even saying? He's done that like 3 times now. Why the would I ever not directly talk to you if you're just going to keep cycling clips out of the Sex Pestiny subreddit over and over and over again to make it seem like I'm just being crazy, you know? You seem most pissed the general public doesn't agree with him at all. Yeah, he literally reacted to a clip that was cut maliciously and went, I don't understand. What is he even saying? This doesn't make sense. Anyway, ultimately, I think his audience is getting annoyed with this shit anyway. Like, that's why they're leaving in droves. So all you can do is resort to Instagram stories over and over again, ridiculous petty shit. I just don't think that. I wonder why he's so afraid. When the title changed from Justin Bieber to a Hasan thumbnail, yeah, his audience doesn't like this shit either. They probably think it's annoying. Please watch his Anne Frank one because that's the grossest one that he did. Okay, you guys are literally making me slowly but surely watch every piece of this content puke by making me watch different BadEmpanada videos of him covering it.
One, I'd just like to go over another ridiculous talking point from Ethan Klein's content puke. Haha, I'm very funny, aren't I? Oh.
What started the hate with you and him? I don't hate Ethan, even after all this shit. I don't. I mean this sincerely. I hope he gets help. I'm not joking when I say this. I want him to get better. Why doesn't he just leave you alone? Hurt ego paired up with an inability to recognize that like his own community turned on him because of his positions on Israel, and also because I think drama is how he makes his money. I'm not the first co-host that he is like literally pursued in this insane way for years and years. Ethan doesn't have any content if he doesn't have any enemies, okay? And for the most part, I think it was like usually a lot of his villains in his universe were objectively bad people. You're also discrediting that his wife probably dislikes you more and is pushing him to do this. Yeah, I think that's part of the reason why people weren't like looking at this stuff in the same way. I don't think he's ever vilified a person that wasn't like a Keemstar. You know what I mean? But it is kind of weird that this is not the first time this has happened. This is the second time this has happened where he's just like makes content out of just like people he's shitting on or people that he previously collaborated with. Thanks for warning us of a waste of an episode today will be. The show is not turning to shit despite these comments. Ethan has always stood up for what he believed on multiple accounts. Enough with the Hasan stuff, please. Completely unwatchable these days. Y'all, this shit is so boring. Please stop. I haven't watched in months because of this stuff. Jesus, man, move the fuck on. Like, live your life. Just do the podcast normally. Get better soon, Ethan. We are praying for you. As a former fan, I don't know. The podcast feels sad vibes lately. Man, I love the show. I haven't complained about content since I watched, but I skipped out on so many episodes lately because it's all Hasan. I miss the fun goofs and gaffs of the crew. Yeah, when I said he should go back to doing goofs and gaffs, when I said he should go back to doing goofs and gaffs, I wasn't actually talking to diminish him. I wasn't talking the shit on him. I was saying that because I legitimately think if he just stopped doing this shit and went back to goofs and gaffs, he would inevitably rebuild his audience. You know? And it's funny because like all the stuff that he did to Ryan Kavanaugh, he has basically become Ryan Kavanaugh. That's what's so wild about it. And what's extra wild is that his audience doesn't realize that he has literally become the Ryan Kavanaugh of this equation. And I didn't even do anything for him to get to this point. Who's Ryan Kavanaugh? He's like, also, what is this photoshopping, dude? I know Cam would have never done some shit like this. That is crazy. Ryan Kavanaugh, some super wealthy guy that Ethan hated. They were deleting messages that told him to stop live. Guys, I love you all. Watch every episode, but please, I'm begging no more Hasan content. I've been watching you since Vape Nation, but Ethan, please just ignore him. Y'all will never agree on anything. What's the point of dragging this fight for months? Go back to the goofs and gaffs, brother. This show's turning into shit, dog. Oh, brother, not this again. Enough with the Hasan stuff. We're so over it, bro. This shit is so embarrassing. At some point, production has to see that this is going to hurt their livelihoods down the line if Ethan keeps rehashing this shit. I think he's in a weird predicament where if he stops this, he's going to lose out on all the Keemstar and like Sex Pestiny fans that come in for the song content, okay, if he does anything else, because he's like already hemorrhaged a lot of his base of support, he's gonna experience even more loss. But ironically, the remaining like foot soldier fan base that's like somewhat progressive and still believes that Ethan is actually doing this because it's valid, because like I'm the #1 anti-Semite on the planet or something. Those people are slowly but surely going, okay, dude, like, sure, we get it. Hasan is the most evil person on the planet, but Jesus Christ. And it's a predictable situation. If I were to unironically spend this much time on Ethan, if I were to spend this much time, as much time as Ethan has spent on me, if I were to my life up and spend every waking moment watching, the million different Ethan Klein videos that exists out there, rehashing all the shit that he's done throughout many, many years in the least charitable way possible. Yeah, initially, I think I would probably get a bunch of people who despise him. There are a lot of them online. There are a lot of people who despise me online as well. They would come in to the audience. But if I were to repeat that over and over again for a year, okay, if I were to repeat that over and over again for a year, the adults in my community would probably be like, what the dude, shut the up about Ethan. Who gives a shit, dude? You're a goddamn political commentator. And for Ethan, it's like, he's supposed to be a comedian, no? Am I crazy? I thought that's what he was. Anyway, man, people would unironically leave after like the 8th time I did it. Because like, where do the goofs and gaffs go? Are you an activist? If you're an activist, what's your activism? What? Attacking a progressive content creator when there's a sea of fascists out there hyper-focusing every waking moment on this dude because he correctly pointed out that Israel's an apartheid state and currently doing a genocide? What an insane thing to try to maintain your position as a progressive, or even more laughably, as a as a pro-Palestinian content creator, and doing that this whole time. Goofs and gaffs. Chat is brigading Ethan posts now. I thought you were above that. What do you mean brigading Ethan posts? These are from 4 hours ago, dumbass. Like, this person doesn't even follow me. None of these people follow me. This person might. Nope, doesn't follow me either. Ethan needs to let things go and just move on. Hasan, he wrote the double S, supported Ethan enough to co-host an entire show on Ethan's YouTube channel. But now they have a disagreement and Ethan is treating him like Keemstar. It just seems very disingenuous. Those are just his fans. Just like initially, I think Ethan pushed a lot of his fans into this community because they were like, what the fuck are you doing with this Israel shit? Like, the way that he was talking about Israel, was not meeting the standards that his progressive audience had. I've never watched Leftovers. I deadass thought Ethan did like celebrity content and stuff like that. Yeah, he did. He used to. And then he did politics for a little bit. And then he was like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not cut out for this. And then he thought, no, actually, I am cut out for this, but only from the perspective of saying Hasan sucks. That's his only politics, is just like actively spitting out whatever the he gets from the Sex Pestiny subreddit.
In my defense, that is at least a better joke than any joke Ethan Klein has ever made. So in this video, Ethan Klein claims that the reason why Anne Frank is admired and like thought of and like mourned so much is because she didn't do violence in response to being genocided. Let's watch.
Withstood genocide, right? Like he is a person whose only experience is like, it's literally like talking to Anne Frank, basically, okay? Being able to talk to Anne Frank in real time.
To quote Anne Frank, I keep my ideals because in spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good at heart. Anne Frank...
I'd just like to be clear, Anne Frank is wrong there. The Nazis who massacred her and her family were not good at heart.
Continues to inspire generations of people because in the face of a genocide that eventually took her...
That's crazy, dude. What do you mean? He was making fun of your hoof shoes? That was the most valid shit I've heard only? Okay. First of all, Margiela Tabbies, that's wearable art, okay?
And her entire family's life, except for her dad. She refused to give in to hate, malice, and violence. And then there's this guy.
So I want to be very clear here that what Ethan Klein is implying there is that what is like important about Anne Frank's story is not that she was like this little...
We didn't leave on a bad note. I was actually a fan of Leftovers, and as someone who stopped watching Ethan's content after it ended, I didn't even think you guys had left on that bad of a note. No, we didn't. This shit popped off like a year later because I think he never gave up on basically talking about Israel every now and then whenever like shit was popping off. And his audience, every time he talked about it, would understandably push back and be like, what the are you saying, dude? So I even defended him for the next like couple of months where I was like, guys, I don't care about what Ethan is saying. People would bring up some insane shit that he was saying all the time. And I was like, I don't care. I don't give a fuck about what he has to say. There's, more important things to cover. And also that like, I kept saying, and now I know, boy, was I wrong. I kept saying that Ethan is pro-Palestine. He's pro-Palestine. He's pro-Palestine. He's not your enemy. He's not your enemy. He's not your enemy. He's not your enemy. Okay, and I was wrong. Okay, I'm willing to admit that. I didn't know how much his opinion had changed, or rather, maybe he always had this opinion, and maybe I didn't understand it or didn't want to see it. Okay, ironically enough, that's what Ethan says about my socialism, which was never sheltered. Okay. And yeah, the 13-year-old Anne Frank should have taken up arms and gone and fought the entire Nazi army. Reasonable take. No, that's not the take here at all. Also, you changed the age. No, the take here is that saying that a Yemeni teenager that experienced genocide is very different than Anne Frank, because Anne Frank was a humanitarian, even though she was experiencing a genocide, is ridiculous. Like, what the it's like saying the people that did the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising were in the wrong. Do you see what I mean? Like, can you imagine Ethan being like, the people that are in the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising were in the wrong for fighting against the Nazi occupation, fighting against their Nazi concentration camp guards? Like, that's insane.
Little child who tried to hide from a genocide and was eventually found and tragically massacred by genocidal Nazis for nothing more than her race. But it seems that Ethan Klein legitimately is implying here that if Anne Frank had actually fought back, if she had hated the people who were trying to massacre her and everyone who happened to share an ethnicity with her, that would have delegitimized her, that she would not be famous or anything, that would have delegitimized her, that she would not have merited being famous or anything, and that it's delegitimizing for people who are victims but who do hate their oppressors and who do want to fight back against them to do so. So basically the implication is that if Anne Frank had fought back, then she would have deserved it.
Do you not watch the original video because you don't know how to refute the misinfo presented in it? Do you, as a 7-month subscriber who's given me a total of $35, genuinely think that I am incapable of refuting the misinformation created by Ethan Klein? You've been following me since 2020. How many times have I talked about Israeli history? How many times have I talked about Palestinian history? How many times have I actually pulled in academics to directly refute all of these things that Ethan Klein is bringing up in his goddamn content puke? No, I think you can. That's why I want you to. Yeah, well, the reason why I didn't do it deliberately is because, do you not watch the original video? Because you can, what? Good Epstein video by Willie Mack. Ew, dude. It's not like while I'm watching BadEmpanada and giving him a shout out because I think he did great work on this. I'm not refuting in real time what the many different instances of misinformation Ethan has presented. You know? Yeah, Willie Sloptube voluntarily posting a Willie Sloptube video in the chat. Jesus Christ.
That resistance to racial genocide is bad, and the only virtuous thing to do in the face of it is to not fight back and just sort of hide or kind of lie down and just hope they don't come for you. I guess he really hated resistance groups who fought back against the Nazis who didn't lie down. That seems to be his mentality anyway. And that really sums it up, and I think it explains really well why he hates people who fight back against Israel in any way, whether it's protest, donations, blockades, or actual resistance, so much. That's his mentality. Summarized perfectly.
All right. I think that's good enough. I don't know. I don't know what else he's like refuted in his video. And I also don't know what else Ethan has said in his video, with the exception of these clips that I have seen. But I will consistently repeat my position that I'm not watching it, but I will watch it with Ethan, alongside Ethan, if he would like me to do so. Okay. Watch the bombing. Why not just use your own brain to comment on the video? I did. And not only did I... Wait. He didn't defend Israel at every turn. He just wanted a shred of empathy from Hasan to understand why people in Israel will feel the way they do. I know why people in Israel feel the way that they do. I've also had Israelis on this broadcast numerous times. I'm about to have... I don't want to leak it, okay? So I'm not going to say anything. But I'm going to have someone on the broadcast very soon, also from Israel, and perhaps one person from Palestine as well. Now, having said that, that's great. Yeah, dude, you know, I had people from Israel on this broadcast in the month of October in 2023. So why the is Ethan Klein on an extended crash out like this? Think, chatter, think. It's because it's too embarrassing for him to actively be like, oh my God, I love Israel and all the death and destruction. So he just has to resort to being like, oh no, it's my feelings that are hurt in this process. And it's my feelings that no one is entertaining. And it's like, yeah, of course nobody gives a fuck about your feelings, dude. What the fuck are you talking about? Well, if Ethan has a Palestinian on, does that make him pro-Palestine? Has Ethan had a Palestinian person on his broadcast? Because I would love to watch that. Okay? And no, the Israeli citizens that I had on were not pro-Israel. What are you, dense? They were anti-Zionist themselves. I'm not pro-Israel. I'm anti-Israel. Hello? Israel is an apartheid state. I'm not saying I'm pro-Israel. I am, however, saying that obviously people who are... What about sex pestiny? You can't be serious, dude. Yeah, Ethan's going to have son of Hamas on. He has talked to both sides. Yeah, you all... I like that you already know he's done sex crimes, okay? And you're still using him as a talking point here. You're like, what about my favorite content creator who is a sex pest? Like, you should be a little bit more embarrassed than to bring this up. Yeah. Anyway, in terms of the refutation, yes, there are plenty of people. There are plenty of people you can talk to make it seem as though you're approaching this. Why dodge it then? Dodge what? What are you talking about? What am I dodging? I'm the one who says I want to literally talk to. I am the one who is saying I want to talk to Ethan. He's the one who is running away because he cannot take any pushback whatsoever because Ethan is a coward. The only people that he can get highs off of is dunking on random TikTok kids that are super dumb, okay, or just pearly things. And when he actually talks to a person who is knowledgeable on the issues that he wants to debate on, he looks like a fool. Even when that person was his friend and tried to very gently explain to him what was up. That led to an extended crash out over the course of an entire year. Just say he's pro-Palestine? No, I'm not going to say he's pro-Palestine. Okay? You in like 30 seconds went to a TikTok stream to brainwash them? Yes, dude. Yes. Dean and Parker and all of these people are actually just dumbasses, right? They're so easily brainwashed. Come on, dog. You really think so? I'm not talking about people like Dean, dumbass. I'm talking about that one random TikToker that he had on that he was shitting on. Or the Nexium sex cult guy. Or just pearly things. Okay? If you want me to watch the H3 Nuke, I said I would do it alongside Ethan. By the way, Hasanabi, the one Palestinian he had on was that insane Sneeko fan you met at the encampments. Oh, that freak. Ugh. Yeah. That he also literally said was a fan of mine when the dude himself didn't know who the I was and realized I had clout. So he acted like he was a fan and then called me the F slur like literally a month ago. Yeah, real fan that guy was. Don't even bother talking with Ethan. He could never talk in good faith. It doesn't matter. There's a difference between me reacting to his video and then him like very carefully and very deliberately clipping stuff to make it seem like I am not refuting his positions or some shit. Okay? Which he has done 3 times now. And if you want to count today, 4 times as a matter of fact. He has shown that he is not operating in good faith. So I'm saying I will talk to him in person because there's no way that he can clip me out of context in real life. He can do it after the fact, which I'm certain he will do if he ever actually, nuts up and talks to me directly. Yeah. He just wants to make more money. I didn't hear that, but that sounds good. Yeah, you don't hear a lot of anything because you've watched clips, you dumb. Yeah, of course you didn't hear that because you are... You might not think you're that way, but you're echo chambered. You came in here and dropped like 8 different talking points from the subreddit. He said, maybe at this point I'll talk to him just to debate why he isn't watching the video. That'd be funny. Ethan said today he shouldn't have to defend his argument. That's why you have to watch it. What? That's an insane statement. It's got to be real sad because he can't even, oh my God, what a nightmare, Sam Cedar me with Sex Pestiny because he was outed as a sex criminal. Lo and behold, oh my God, the chatter in my chat is a frequent user of the r/Destiny subreddit and also the H3H3 production subreddit. And lo and behold, also the Asmongold subreddit. The 3 the 3 heads on Mount Rushmore, dude. The trifecta, the triple Monty. It's weird because it's like for a lot of these people, they're on paper not aligned on politics at all. So how the fuck are they so aligned on one thing? And that is hating my ass, okay? Perhaps it has nothing to do with politics at all and everything to do with you advancing the cause of your own favorite parasocial daddy. What is this? Oh, this is from DGG. They're also in DGG watching right now as well, which makes it even funnier. I watched most of Asmon's perspective. I would generally agree, but it doesn't seem like Asmon's audience does. I feel like rather than commenting on Pierre's version of the debate, Asmon's react video of it is up. If D-Man could get good favor with Asmon, could be a lot of good crossover there. I reckon he would still bring Destiny on despite allegations. Honestly, don't ever rule that out. I think it's fine. Even if he does that, I think that's the one group of people that his fan base still understandably despises, despite his attempts to make it seem as though I've poisoned the well against Destiny. What? Please watch the 4th video on the playlist.
Hello, it's me, Minecraft Steve, and welcome to another episode of Ethan Klein's Content Nuke being dissected, quickly and succinctly, on specific points that he tried to make within it. So this time we're going to be going over Ethan Klein's incredibly compelling evidence that he was pro-Palestine, which he mentioned in the video. As you saw in the previous video, Ethan Klein was very much against a blockade against Israel and its allies in order to stop shipping that was associated with them and put pressure on them to force them to stop doing genocide. In the rest of his video, he also revealed that he is vehemently against pretty much every single resistance action against Israel. He very clearly believes that it's wrong for anyone to militarily fight back against Israel in any context, whether they are Palestinian or some other country standing up for Palestinians. But there was one thing that he seemed to endorse, and that was charity, because he brought up the fact that he had made a donation to a Palestinian charity as pretty much the only evidence that he had of him supposedly being pro-Palestine.
This is the last video I'm going to watch on this. Ironically, I clicked on this because I wanted to hear what his opinion on the war on Ukraine was. And then we sidestepped into this massive black hole of
whereas everything
Ethan
else
content.
Seems to point to the opposite. He was very proud of this, and he genuinely seemed to believe that mentioning this was evidence of him being pro-Palestinian. You know, a millionaire like him throwing $6,500 at something, which for him is nothing at all, we're supposed to just believe that's a huge deal that proves his goodness in spite of all of the Zionist propaganda that he's doing. And I think probably the best part about this is that he says it immediately after he frames like Zionist fears and painting of Palestinians as a like evil demographic threat in their own homeland. He does that, and then he immediately moves on to talking about how pro-Palestinian he is. It's absolutely crazy.
Israel as a Jewish state, and considering the historical context of Jews being pogromed from Arab countries, is it really that crazy for them to not feel safe as an ethnic minority?
Is it really crazy for us to keep out our genocided colonized victims? And then he moves so fluidly from this into just framing himself as a Palestinian ally because he made a donation.
A little bit.
And that's pretty much the entirety of our disagreement. Despite what you've read on TikTok and Twitter,
our disagreement was just this. He's pro-Palestine, but he also understands why Israel has reasonable demographic concerns. Israel has reasonable fears of the scary Arabs that have wronged them consistently. Okay? Consistently. Please don't look into the history. Please. Please don't look into the fact that I personally said 1 million Jews were forcibly expelled from other Arab nations, not Palestinian, other Arab nations, okay? Even though that part of the story is also not completely correct, and made it seem as though that was worse than the Nakba. That is psychotic.
donated $6,500 to a Palestinian charity after the war started.
Hey, Ethan Klein, thank you for the dono. Ethan Klein gave $6,500. My goat. Thank you, Ethan.
Okay, he donated $6,500. So let's see what Ethan actually thinks about donations. Much bigger donations, in fact.
That's Creators for Palestine raised $1.6 million. That's fantastic. Literally negligible. They've received billions of fucking dollars. It's a good thing. Has $1.6 million had an outcome on anything happening in Gaza? Absolutely not. Has it helped people? Sure. Has it helped the actual, like, movement? No. Like,
what the? Wait. What an insane director of Creators Palestine said this a few weeks ago to Ethan Klein. You are
Creators
misguided in every conceivable way. Get offline and seek help. Oh, you guys didn't do shit for Palestine. Me, on the other hand, I give $6,500. That's so funny, yeah. Where are all the chatters now who are like, why won't you say Ethan is pro-Palestinian? I don't know, because I don't want to lie to my audience, dude. What the
raise money. That's good. That's the easiest thing you can do is just give money, right? Good. Let's talk about real activism. Let's talk about enacting meaningful change. Total failures. And to address your point.
So $6,500 proves that he is a virtuous pro-Palestinian saint. $1.6 million, negligible, nothing, does nothing at all, totally useless to the movement.
Don't forget he tweeted once too, very important. Yeah, also, he tweeted a lot more before he had to shut off his Twitter account because he was tweeting about how, gay Iranian sex workers who are pro-Palestinian would be murdered by Hamas. They would throw you off of a roof. Hamas would throw you off of a roof. I'm pro-Palestine.
If you're asking, well, what is it that Ethan Klein thinks is actually useful to the movement?
Yeah. Monetary support for Palestinian aid groups that are working on the ground, not real pro-Palestinian activism. Okay? Protesting on college campuses to divest from the apartheid state of Israel, not real pro-Palestinian activism. What is real pro-Palestinian activism? Saying Joe Biden is actually a great president after he was directly responsible for the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians. And then also, using all of your time shitting on people who are pro-Palestinian and then actively trying to get them deplatformed. This is how you do pro-Palestine.
Well, he's against everything else as well. He's against literally everything. He thinks actual meaningful action, such as blockading Israeli and allied ships in order to put actual material pressure on them.
Oh, yeah,
is
I
wrong.
forgot. That's terrorism. Yeah, that's right. Doing Doing a blockade on the Red Sea in order to cripple Israel economically as it continues doing its genocide is terrorism and completely unacceptable.
He thinks fighting back against Israel, whether you are Palestinian, Iranian, Lebanese, literally anyone, he thinks that's wrong as well. In fact, he even argued. He argued in this video that wanting to blockade Israel, to put pressure on Israel and its population, to force the government to stop doing genocide in Gaza, he argued that's the same as supporting the Holocaust. Look, I'm not kidding. I know it sounds unbelievable. I know it sounds like I'm making it up. But he literally goes from Hassan Piker like talking about how the intention of the blockade is to put pressure on Israel to cause discontent among the population, so they stop doing genocide, they leave Israel or some stuff like that because they can't get their frivolous little treats anymore like their Amazon Prime deliveries. And Ethan Klein's reaction is to straight up say, oh, you want them to be in death camps, don't you? That's what you're saying.
You have to understand, this is a deterrence. Israeli society is going to start getting upset. They're going to be like, I can't get my treats. I can't get my Amazon Prime deliveries. What the f is going on? I hate this. Israel sucks. I'm leaving Israel. That's the goal.
I find it disturbing that Hassan thinks that a slowdown of imports is going to cause Jews to flee Israel.
He says Jews. Like, he's so excited to say the word Jews every time.
80% of Israelis were born there and do not have citizenship anywhere else. So where do you want them to go, Hassan? Back to Poland or back?
By the way, unironically, a thing that I've never said, a thing that I've never advocated for, and something that BadEmpanada probably disagrees with me on. That is like the entire point of why I'm an advocate for the one-state solution. So he's just like making shit up. And he knows that that's not my position, okay? He knows that that is not my position at all because I've had this conversation with him. I've directly had this conversation with him about why I believe a one-state solution, okay?
Or some pressure like that because they can't get their frivolous little treats anymore like their Amazon Prime deliveries. And Ethan Klein's reaction is to straight up say, oh, you want them to be in death camps, don't you? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, but you have to understand, this is a deterrence. Israeli society is going to start getting upset. They're going to be like, I can't get my treats. I can't get my Amazon Prime deliveries. What the f is going on? I hate this. Israel sucks. I'm leaving Israel. That's the goal.
I find it disturbing that Hassan thinks that a slowdown of imports is going to cause Jews to flee Israel.
He says Jews.
Wait, first of all, that did happen. That literally did happen. That straight up happened. Yes, when you are adjusted to a life of privilege and those treats are taken away from you, that has an economic impact, okay? And when that has an economic impact born out of this blockade and the economic pressure created by this blockade, which is, by the way, infinitely painless in comparison to a literal genocide, okay? Remember that. Then yeah, you actually cause pressure on the country to change trajectory.
Like, he's so excited to say the word Jews every time.
80% of Israelis were born there and do not have citizenship anywhere else. So where do you want them to go, Hassan? Back to Poland or back?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, that's what I said. Shut up. That's so stupid. Bro, oh my God. I forget how stupid the average American is. I feel like the dumbest you know. The dumbest you know is watching this and going, yeah, this guy is a bad guy. This is a song guy.
He flashed the picture of the Auschwitz death camp. Like, so donations don't count. Donations aren't real activism. That's not effective. That doesn't help the movement. Also, you can't do a blockade against a country actively doing genocide because that might cause some of the people there to want to immigrate when they can't get their treats anymore, and that's tantamount to the Holocaust. Also, he's against literally any military action or resistance against Israel, no matter what, no matter who. He's just against all of it. Let's take a look at what Ethan and Hila Klein, his terrorist wife, think about protests for Palestine, like just normal protests, you know, nothing else. Like,
don't forget that he says BDS is also anti-Semitic, so that's not appropriate activism either. Yeah, we should get our notes from Ethan Klein on what the appropriate way to protest Israel's apartheid and genocide should be. Can't do BDS, can't do college campus protests, can't actually implement a blockade, okay? What else? can't even explain the context behind how militancy in the form of resistance exists, like Hamas, Hezbollah, and the like, because then that's, oh, God forbid, oh, you're scary, you're terrorist. Okay? Write it down quick. You can give $6,500 to a charity so that you can say that you're pro-Palestine in perpetuity, but you can't raise more than $6,500 because if you raise $1.6 million and you're pro-Palestine, then at that point it's actually bad. Let me think. It doesn't seem like there's any option. Can't say from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free as well, by the way. What's on my shirt? That's anti-Semitic. Remember how Ethan and I had this argument? I forgot. He actually said that. He said that that was, you have to understand why Israelis think this is a scary slogan. Yeah. I guess the only way to protest Israel is to just be silent and talk about how, wonderful and multicultural Israel is. Is that... He also made sure to mention on the pod where he bragged about donating that he's scared about donating because the money could go to Hamas. I guess there's not really anything you can do. You just got to send thoughts and prayers to the Palestinians. But hey, what if the thoughts and prayers that you're sending to the Palestinians is going to the wrong Palestinian? Like, what if that Palestinian has had a mean thought about the state that has eviscerated his parents at some point in his life, or definitely blew the school that he used to go to? What if that Palestinian child now has a mean opinion about Israel? Then you can't do that either. Nah, I don't think you can do thoughts and prayers either. I've decided that's also anti-Semitic. Other things that are anti-Semitic is when you have a long and extended crash out and consistently attack a vocal pro-Palestinian advocate alongside virtually every other vocal pro-Palestinian advocate, and then artists that have worked with you previously or worked with your wife previously decide, hey, this is a bridge too far. Completely removed from me. I don't know how this happened. I'm not involved in this process at all. Even that's anti-Semitic. That's got to be anti-Semitic. If you don't work with my wife, you're anti-Semitic. How could this have happened? How could this have happened? I'm so pro-Palestine. Why won't people understand I'm so pro-Palestine? Oh, also, you can't say, yeah, I mean, obviously is this actually the original account? Enjoy your drugs and being a sex worker. Hamas would kill you on the spot. Was this his OG account or was this, am I getting baited? He said something along these lines, but I think this was the OG one. Oh, wait, I forgot. Hold on. Sorry. There's also some other stuff that's anti-Semitic. Being a fallen fan, who is at odds with the way you present Israel. That if you go to a different subreddit and like post clips of Ethan Klein in other subreddits, that's also anti-Semitic. You should get doxxed and probably fired from your job. Being mean to Ethan, anti-Semitism. Oh, there was another one. Remember when I personally sent Ethan a text message when he was like a couple months ago, and I was like, listen, it's obvious that you don't respect me, but I know you respect Sam Cedar. I think you should privately talk to Sam Cedar about this stuff. And he also outed that I sent him that text message and then said that that was anti-Semitic, because I said, hey, you can talk to someone who you respect, who also has like life experience that's comparable, okay? Because clearly you don't trust anything I'm saying because I'm a dirty Muslim terror lover, which, oh, that's right. He compared me to Osama bin Laden playing that game that Sex Pestini's community had made. That's true. Is Sam Jewish? Yes. He said, telling me to talk to another Jew, that's anti-Semitic. That's what he said. What else? Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that's anti-Semitic, man. It seems like virtually every position you have is anti-Semitic. Wait, everyone, he's thinking about going to Gaza, thinking about it. Bro doesn't want to watch the nuke and address the elephant in the room, yet squeezes and milks every moment once Ethan brings up your name. Talk about the allegations, red flag, red flag, red flag. Come on. This one is too stupid as a foot soldier for you to ban them like this, okay? The thinking about going to Gaza thing is also kind of stupid because I was invited by literal journalists that work in Gaza, okay? And I unfortunately most likely will not be able to go because the people that I did talk to said that they could not give me security assurances that Israel would not kill me or anyone really, because Israel is not allowing Western journalists to enter the Gaza Strip, by the way. Think about that. Okay? It's not even because like Hamas is scary and they're going to kill you or whatever. That's not the fear. That's not the problem there. The problem is Israel could nuke you at any moment and America will apologize to Israel for it. But yeah, no, it's such a laughable thing, dude. It's such a laughable thing. Not just me, by the way. Anyone at any given moment. It's also, oh yeah, that's another thing. Sabra hummus. Saying Sabra hummus sucks. Anti-Semitic. The highest level of anti-Semitism. Okay? Yeah. Huh. Hasan, you are digging your own grave and aligning with people like BadEmp. Everyone knows Ethan is not PW brother bother. What does PW bother mean? You are not an imprisoned Mandela. As longtime fan, I'm deeply concerned and disappointed about how you are handling the situation. You are cultivating an audience and moving in a direction that you will not come back from. It's okay to admit when you were wrong. Seek therapy, please. I like that things that Ethan's own fan base have told him, Ethan's fan base now is trying to tell me. Brother, Ethan is aligned with Sex Pestiny, who recently got a Daily Mail article written about him. The f***, as a longtime fan, by the way.
Literally not donating, not actually fighting back against Israeli genocide, not blockading Israeli ships so they can't get
the thinking about going to Gaza clip that they keep trying is mostly a soundbite from another YouTube critic who chastised E for going after someone who's literally thinking of going to Gaza. That's a soundbite they all love. It's not even from you. Oh, I don't know. I don't watch the show. And neither do many of his old fans, actually. Yeah, Ethan Klein is currently aligned with Keemstar, Asmongold, virtually all the Slobtubers. Some of them have already turned on Ethan because he's like very obviously lost his mind. And who else? Sex Pestiny, the ADL. It's crazy.
Their Amazon Prime deliveries, because, you know, that would be the Holocaust. So let's check what they think about something as simple as protesting.
But people who would like to criticize the army and Israel need to understand that it's a daily threat that something needs to happen about it. It's not like we have
Palestinians are a daily threat.
A choice.
Do you find it ironic when there's these when you talk about privilege? Let's talk about someone who's going to UC Berkeley, paid by their parents $200,000.
You got Myron defending you? No, the f he's not, dumbass. Get out of here. The notion that Myron is defending me is so funny because every time he literally, in between calling me the F slur or telling everyone that I'm bought by the Jews, he will literally reply to every single one of my tweets to be like, oh, it's time to admit you're bought by the Jews, or it's time to admit that Jews are the problem. I wonder why I don't voluntarily align myself with Myron in the way that Ethan Klein has aligned himself with the likes of Keemstar, as a matter of fact. Perhaps it's because I despise him and I'm not an anti-Semite. I'm at work, don't bully me. Yeah. That's the other side. That's the other side of the story, is that if Ethan was even remotely honest or decent about this, he would show the 7 million different instances where I have routinely talked about the charlatans that utilize, that actually utilize what Israel is doing to the Palestinians to actually spread their nefarious anti-Semitic propaganda.
Tuition on campus protesting Israel. Do you find that ironic?
So privilege is not being an Israeli who lives at the expense, especially like Ethan, who chose to move to Israel, who lives at the expense of Palestinians every single day on their land, massacring them, oppressing them for your benefit. No. Privilege is protesting for those people.
I do. When I lived in Israel,
these are millionaires, by the way.
I used to criticize Israel a lot.
Yeah,
like,
me too,
as an
actually.
Israeli.
Yeah.
As an Israeli. Only the people who benefit from the settler colonial project are allowed to criticize. I'm sorry for interjecting so much. It's just so bad.
But when we moved here and I started to go on Reddit and stuff like that, and just being more aware of like the online criticism and there's
It's not just online, but
it's not just online. Yeah. I just became more aware of like the criticism here of Israel and in general around the world. And it's really, I personally think it's so ironic. It's just like, I don't know, it's kids sitting here in like beautiful California criticizing, like you don't even know what you're talking about.
Right. Yeah, totally. And I mean, it's easy to reduce. It's funny because, like you said, when you're in Israel, you're super critical of the government. You're like, dude,
no, you're not.
You're expanding in the West Bank. That's bullshit. You know, the government is turning off water and Gaza doing weird shit to control, make land grabs and stuff.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff is like, yo, what are you guys doing? But when you come to Israel and then what you hear is people criticize.
They genuinely think the only people who should be allowed to say anything negative about their settler colonial project made for their racial benefit, even chose to move there. Again, I have to emphasize that he chose to move there and receive racial benefits just for an accident of his birth at the expense of Palestinians. They genuinely think the only people who should be allowed to criticize that are themselves.
Criticizing national security and calling Israel like apartheid, and that they shouldn't have fences, or that Israel should be.
You mean when you come here and you're here?
Fences to keep your victims out. Fences to keep the people you stole your land from out. So they are against donations. 1.6 million is nothing, but $6,500, that's a lot when you need to leverage it to pretend that you're pro-Palestine for the purposes of making a Zionist propaganda video. Protests? That's the definition of privilege, buddy. Protesting for Palestine. Posting on the internet, criticizing Israel, that's also out. That's also, the definition of privilege, the definition of irony as well. Blockades, that's definitely out. Blockading Israel, boycotting it, sanctioning it, anything like that. That's tantamount to Auschwitz. It's like wanting to put Jews into concentration camps all over again. It's the Holocaust. And you better believe actually fighting back against Israel is even worse. The fighting back against Israel is like 10 Holocausts, basically. Ethan Klein has not seen a single pro-Palestinian act that he supports, but it's especially ironic that the only thing that he has to point to him apparently being pro-Palestinian is a little token donation that he made once being a millionaire, an amount of money that's nothing for him, and then he comes out and belittles others who donated 246 times more than him. So yeah, what else is there to say? Hello.
Yeah. If any of his viewers are still here, maybe cap it off with the Boston Marathon video. There might be too depressing. No, I'm not going to use that video. That is disgusting. No, the only way you can criticize Israel is by talking about Benjamin Netanyahu being bad. Hasan Reactions is one of the best ones in the React channel.